I can settle down and be doing just fine till I hear an old freight rolling down the line.
So thanks for coming in, mate.
Thank you, Scott.
No worries. So just talking about living in Torquay, you live in Torquay now and work in Torquay, but are you from here originally? How long?
Well, the story is that my wife and I were living in Melbourne at a place called Heathmont, which is near Ringwood.
Yep.
And that's originally came from Adelaide, moved over for corporate life in the late 20s, when I was late 20.
Okay.
And I can get onto that later. But we followed our son, who is a sort of fairly well-known local in the sense that he owns Salty Dog. Do you know Salty Dog?
Oh, okay, right.
So that's James and his wife Louisa.
Right. Okay.
And they pour a coffee or two down there, and it's a pretty crazy, hectic business.
It is a crazy, hectic business, isn't it? So Salty Dog's down on, Brian's looking at me going, where's that? But it's on Fisherman's Beach. So basically, you go down the end of Darren Road here.
I know.
So
not the Esplanade where all the cafes are.
No.
The little one.
There's the bar upstairs, like that outdoor
that's
bar,
right.
opposite the Bowls Club.
Yeah.
And then under there, there's a little cafe called
Yeah.
Salty Dog, and people can take their dogs there, which I think is why it's so popular. Right?
Yeah, that's part. Well, they changed it to the name to Salty Dog. Before it was called Bombora's.
Yeah, that's right.
And he bought it about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
From Bombora's.
So your son bought it, and his wife bought it from the Bombora's guys.
Correct.
Oh, I thought it went the other way around. I thought they'd bought it recently, but no.
No, Bombora's has opened up probably half a dozen restaurants in Torquay.
Yeah.
And I suppose they want to start the restaurant business. And my son was sick of driving up to corporate life, and he jumped into buying the Bombora's cafe out.
Right. Cool.
And he pushed on with Salty Dog.
Been doing very well ever since, I imagine.
Correct.
Yeah. So you guys followed him down here to Torquay?
We have, because Julie and I used to drive from Heathmont to get on the freeway to jump in at Seafood and go for a swim. And a lot of our friends are from that area, whether it's Patterson Lakes or Bond Beach or whatever, down there.
Yep.
And we're thinking about moving down there, but we've got a daughter in Chirnside Park and a son that's come down here about 10, 15 years ago, 12 years ago maybe, and they've got 3 of our grandsons.
Yeah.
So so what are we doing? Let's follow them.
Yep.
And our youngest son, who's about to have a child, is up in Byron Bay.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Funny. Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because we're talking about this room that we do the podcast in being our daughter's old room, and she's now in South America, living, studying, and so on. She's been in Colombia. She's now in Guatemala, and we've pretty much taken over the room the instant she walked out and headed overseas. But she's talking about maybe coming back, so we might have to give the room back up. But we feel like Ange and I, my wife and I, are like, well, Trinity's often talked about going up to Byron Bay or that area, northern New South Wales. She loves it.
Very
up there.
popular area.
Yeah. And that we may end up following her up there one day too, potentially, if that's what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway.
She's been up on a bit of a road trip and had a look up that way.
Yeah,
she did get to Byron on that trip?
She did. Yeah. She hung out there stayed there for a little while, maybe a couple of weeks. A friend of Ange's had an apartment up there, so she went and stayed with her. So absolutely loves it up there. Absolutely loves it. I couldn't do it up there. It's like Torquay on steroids. You think Torquay's mad and expensive and whatever.
Byron Bay is very expensive.
Yeah.
Proper Byron Bay is, where all the restaurants and cafes and all that is. My son lives out at Suffolk Park, which is about 6 k's out. It's still called Byron. But he's built parking up onto a national reserve, and it's beautiful there.
Beautiful, yeah.
It's less crazy than Byron proper.
Yeah. But we talked about getting in the water earlier. It's beautiful.
The water.
Yeah, but you just have to be careful, because one of my mates, who's a fellow swimmer, showed Instagram where bull sharks were swimming in the shallows.
Right. Well, funny. A mate of mine told me that there was a bull shark found in Cozy Corner yesterday. It got caught in some seaweed or something? Is that right?
There was a shark. As we get in the water, we're being told about it this morning.
Yeah.
But it was a thrasher, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because thrashers have got very small mouths.
Right, okay.
Bull shark will take your leg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right, okay.
We're talking local here.
We're talking about 100 metres from where I swim every morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cozy Corner is the second. Well, Fisherman's Bend is where the Salty Dog is.
Yeah.
Where the Angling Club is.
Yeah.
And further south is almost the next cove, which is Cozy Corner.
Yeah, right.
So Cozy is kind of a little family spot. It's a nice, gentle little place for kids to go in and swim and stuff. So often that's where the lifeguards will be and stuff in summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So so how long you been in Torquay then?
Probably 5 going on 6 years.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
As I said, we followed our son down.
Yeah.
But in that midst of we're going to park by the water, because I've been in the water my whole life, and the period that I'd stayed out of the ocean was being when I was corporate life. I was swimming in a swimming pool.
Yeah.
So headed back to Torquay because we didn't want to. Well, we liked the idea of going to Bomb Beach or somewhere like that.
Yep.
But our family was here, so
you're on the other side of the city then to get back for your grandkids here. Yeah. Which is which is a hassle.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Across Melbourne every time to back. So
no, I've lucked in. I mean, Torquay for me is my tribe's here, swimmers.
Yep.
Some of my mates who are water polo players are here.
Yeah.
I retired from water polo about 6 years ago. And, they're all here sort of thing. Like I came because of my son and daughter-in-law and their kids.
Yeah, but you already had strong connections here anyway.
Yeah, I bought a property in Lygon Street and I thought, I'll get there every week for a couple of days.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
It's too much to do here.
Yeah, fair enough. And so when you say you swim, you're talking like you proper swim? You swim out? Or, yeah. Or
I did
surf,
I used to surf.
Yeah.
I swam about 2-point-something kilometres this morning.
Okay.
So
between the boys out there?
That's right. We go out to...
Okay. Oh, you're one of those mad buggers that I see out there every morning.
We go out to B1, which is about, depending on the tide, it's about 300 metres out.
Yep.
So you watch the cliff face go by on your right-hand turn.
All right.
So you get to the B1.
Yep.
I swam from B1 to B2, which is 300 metres down.
Yep.
Then a mate and I swam to what we call the point, which is the point jutting out just before you come around to the...
between Front Beach and Fisherman's Beach.
Yes,
yeah, right.
Correct.
Okay, right. Yeah, I do see you guys out there a bit. I'm like, they're too mad for me. I'll just splash around here a bit and have a bit of a paddle around. Yeah,
it's great. And, I lost some of my swimming technique a while back and I'm back into it and I'm really enjoying it. So it's great.
Awesome.
So this has been a passion your whole life, water by the sound of it, has it?
I grew up in Adelaide. My life-saving club was West Beach. And when I was about 12, I started paddling surf skis.
Yeah.
And from 12, 13, I started competing.
Yeah.
And then I raced kayaks and surf skis and won a few championships.
Yeah.
And then came to Melbourne.
Yeah, okay.
Followed career then.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I know West Beach. We used to stay in the caravan park there when I lived and worked in Mildura for many years.
Yeah.
And we used to go to Adelaide to the cricket.
Because you're close.
It was much, much closer than coming to Melbourne.
Yes.
Half the distance. An easy run down to Adelaide. And we used to pitch a tent or whatever, a camp at West Beach.
Yeah.
In the caravan park there.
Well, there's a lifesaving club on the water, and if you go there now, it's been done up.
Yeah.
Because it got destroyed by storms.
Yeah.
And great restaurant, it's got my name on the screen, club champion or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's my total bragging rights.
So did you keep involved in the surf club sort of scene when you came to Victoria as well?
I visited St Kilda Beach when I first came over in my late 20s. So I'm 68 now.
Yeah.
And so it was like, no, this is not surf, it's flat water.
Yeah.
So and it was a drive from where I live. So I thought, I'll just swim in the pool.
Yeah.
And I've hooked up with some of the lifesavers here through swimming.
Yeah.
Here
as in Torquay.
Yeah.
So the reason I reached out to you to come on the podcast was obviously your career or your different interest in that, and that's publishing. So I'm pretty keen to. So you own a company called Brolga Publishing.
That's correct. Yeah.
And based here in Torquay now. Or I think your website still says Melbourne, but you're obviously now here, living the dream, working from home and running a business.
Perfect in the sense of, we all had that dreaded COVID period where I used to have an office in Carlton, had staff, and when I got to about 5-6 months in, I said, what am I paying rent there? I can't work my staff. So I've swapped totally to, working from home or a CAF, Salty Dog or whatever, and meeting authors here. And there's plenty of people that have published with me that, locally. So, but I published, I got a guy coming from Brazil tomorrow. I'm having lunch with him at the Salty, and then we're going to dinner tomorrow night. So it's an easy business in the sense of you can stay in contact. Just email.
And you got someone come from Brazil, you might as well meet him in Torquay rather than Melbourne. Hey,
correct. Well,
a very impressive place for them to meet.
Well, I think so.
Well, it's one of the most beautiful parts of the world, really, isn't it? The Great Ocean Road. It's a beautiful stretch of coastline, and it rivals anywhere in the world. Really does. So I'm interested in going back to how someone gets into publishing. I mean, is this was that an interest? Is writing an interest of yours? Was it a job that you started and just sort of progressed from there? How do you get into that industry?
Two things I like to say, and this is where you might tell me keep quiet. Whereas I can't write to save myself. Right. But I've published 2 books and they've been sold in the US and India and all the rest of it. So they're mainly quote books, but people I'm interested in. But the writer in the family is my wife. She's published through Random House. Her books were released about 10, 15 years ago. So the 2 books that she released, movie rights, but never get off the ground in that sense. The way I started in the industry, my second job was in books, and I was 20 and I needed a job. I'd finished university. I was applying for university jobs, which were totally unsuited to my style or personality or whatever. And I applied for a book-selling job in Adelaide, and I got hired by a independent chain of about 6 stores. And out working for them for about 4 or 5 years until a company, Angus and Robertson, I don't know if it's still in the memory bank, was a chain of about 200 stores, poached me.
And brought you to Melbourne.
No, they hired me to open up the state of South Australia, which I did. So I went from 1 shop to about 6 shops in 4 years. And then my 2 bosses, my MD and my marketing guy, said, we better get you to Melbourne because you're a pain in the arse in Adelaide. Because I used to run advertising campaigns on TV and that, and I thought, what's this guy doing? So they got me in Melbourne, and that's where I stayed for, I can't remember, 15 years or something. More than that probably.
With Angus and Robertson?
Correct, Actually, it's 13 years I was with Angus and Robertson. And that's after that I'd had enough of being in a group that was taken over. News Limited took us over through the Herald Sun, so we had Rupert Murdoch as a boss. Then they sold us because he got short of cash. And so a small bank almost bankrupted him, so he sold anything that wasn't core. He was in publishing, HarperCollins, but he got rid of the chain of bookshops, Angus and Robertson. And Brashis bought us, so we got another MD. They were about $1 billion business, not a million. And after that, Brashis sold us to Whitcoulls, which is a New Zealand chain. And by then I'd had enough, so I got out and, got sick of it.
So then you're selling book, like franchises, basically. Is that what you
Well, Angus and Robertson was a book-selling chain, So I went into book-selling first. But as a bookseller, you get to know the industry. And in fact, I've been in the book industry for over 47 years. So
your whole working life, one way or the other.
And I've been offered other jobs as CEOs and whatever, but I like books and I like the people associated with it. So that's where I stayed. And I'm still obviously working. But the progression into publishing has been more about when I was running the marketing office, I was the marketing director at Angus and Robertson. I spent so much money on advertising and, $9 million in advertising and probably 60 million on books, and I wasn't the only guy that bought, but I was the key guy.
Yeah.
You bump into people. So, people like Peter Ustinov, we used him as our branding campaign. So you had to discover through him, through our ads, that this is the only place you buy their books, because he had a character, I don't know if you remember, Hercule Poirot. That's
Poirot.
it. I can't even. I can't pronounce it.
We know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so he'd be an investigator. So the premise was that he'd investigate where to buy your books from, and Angus and Robertson, because obviously we paid for the ad, or the series of ads, and that's where we got. But to get into publishing, you met all those people.
Yeah, okay.
And I got to publish Hazel, Hawke through Brolga.
Yep.
But prior to that, I met her and put her on TV to do an ad. So that's how you
made contacts and you develop relationships with these people.
You do. Absolutely, you do.
So I do want to get into the Hazel Hawke story and the book and so on. But before that, at what point I just sort of want to get an idea of the transition from that into actually publishing. Was there a first book you published, or what point did you go, I'm going to do this rather than?
I've told you about
meeting people, meeting the right people and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I was lucky. I was reasonably good at my job, so I met a lot of people. Travelled overseas probably 4 times a year, met people. So when I went through that period of changing MDs, the first MD they sacked, and didn't sack me, was a lovely accountant, general manager, MD guy.
Yeah.
Beautiful guy.
Yeah.
So when they progressed to firing other people and kept me on, I'm thinking, I don't really enjoy this. And I remember going to a board meeting once where I had to present, and I'm pushing the lights and there's stars coming up in my eyes, and it's just high blood pressure.
Yeah.
So the progression was I knew the industry.
Yep.
And I then had enough of...
You want a lifestyle choice?
I wanted corporate. I was working 80 hours a week, all that.
Yeah.
Had budgets to worry about and all that. When I got out and said to myself, and then I resigned, I won't work for other people, work for myself. I didn't set a budget. We did pretty well in the first year or so for some of the consultancy stuff. But publishing was more my go, in the sense it's people orientated. I'm good. I like people.
Yeah.
I'm hopeless at writing.
Yeah.
So my wife is the editor.
Yeah, okay.
Was the editor.
Yep.
She's fired me now.
Yep.
So I just use consultants for what I need.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I'd love to... I'm really fascinated with the process of publishing.
Sure.
Right?
Me too, and I know little about it.
Yeah, but I'd love to hear about the stories about some of the books, but I'm interested in the process now.
We both sort of like to read and write.
Yes, okay.
I know nothing about publishing, so as an industry, how does it work?
I mean, I've worked in the printing industry. I've worked in the printing industry for many years.
Yeah, you've been closer to it than I have.
It's more that, how do you... What's the relationship with the author like? I imagine that... We were talking about this before, weren't we? That we felt that maybe if it's a well-established author, or if it's some up-and-comer, or if a publishing company recognises a great talent and is going to take a punt on them, then they may pay in advance or something. But I don't imagine that that's how it works typically, right? Is that how?
No, I think you've got a pretty good summary there, but it does vary, and what you've got to pay attention to is the multinationals. Hachette is one of the biggest publishers in the world. But
what are they called?
Hachette.
Hachette, okay.
And it's a terrible thing to say, but they also make landmines.
Oh, really?
So,
what do they make?
Landmines.
Oh, God.
I hope they don't send out the wrong ones at Christmas time.
No, they're fantastic publishers. HarperCollins, owned by Rupert Murdoch, his news company. They've got... we distribute our books through what they call heads. Harper Entertainment Distribution Centre. Right. So, so the multinationals, the big international companies, I say to any author, they're the persons you want to go to first. But it's incredibly 1% less to get published by them because they're focusing on movie stars or the radical people that that have got so much attention, and they will get them because they're guaranteed to sell an international movie star in all the different markets. Whereas in Australia, if you publish in Australia and you like to publish non-fiction, well, your story or anybody's story that comes from Australia is going to sell well here. Now, with a population of, 25 million, you might sell a good quantity, but it competes with little in the sense of non-fiction Australian story about Torquay, for example, if you can get it published. But if it's a fictional author, like Lee Childs is one of the best fiction writers, and he'll publish with, I've forgotten his publisher at the moment, but he'll publish millions of copies. And he's a multi-millionaire author. Whereas if you're an Australian author, you can get big quantities like Di Morrissey. She'll publish with Pan, and they'll print, say, 80,000 copies. This is from memory, so I might have that slight wrong. And they'll pay her in advance. So to earn out her advance, she has to sell so many copies. And the publisher just does a fraction of that.
Okay.
And I pay advances, but only for people that, Mel Walden is one of my authors. Hazel, Hawke passed, but I paid her in advance.
You knew that they were a recognisable name, that they were going to have a story that people wanted to read, and that there wasn't a huge risk for you to do it.
Correct. Mel Walden is doing his 10th book for us now. It's called The Power of Voices, Australian Speeches. I love it.
Okay.
My wife loves it. I'll pay him a small advance. He's a great writer, journalist. He's been in the industry as a journalist for about 60 years.
50 years at least.
And he's in his mid or early 80s and loves writing. So, it's a pleasure to work with him. So in a publishing sense, that's, we're his first and only publisher. And but someone else could come along and sell it to that book. In fact, it was offered to Melbourne University Press. We offered him less, but he wanted to work with us.
Well,
because we had
a relationship with him,
Had a relationship with him, but the editor, which was my wife at that stage, was really good. She could work with him.
Fantastic.
So it goes from the multinationals. And they have a system, a box, and they work it out to sell, 1 million copies around the world. Whereas in Australia, a decent print run is 1,000 copies.
Wow,
that's interesting.
And
I mean, if you're an author and you sell 1,000 copies, what do you make out of that?
Well, it depends. For example, Brolga Publishing will go to an author, and we paid an advance to a guy. Big story about him, but he just published with us in October, and I'd paid him a small advance. But he's got to earn that out. And his book's called Kidnapped by Hezbollah, which is what happened to him. And his wife got kidnapped. Basically a day, and got released. So the title is very grabby for me, so I published it. But what they get paid, if you're with an international publisher and you publish like Lee Charles, and I think that's either HarperCollins or Hachette, they'll usually pay 10% of the cover price, which is, say, $30. They'll get $3 a book. And if you get 1 million copies out there and they sell, there's $3 million. And again, if you're a smaller publisher like me, I can show you all the love and care and give you the advice and say, that cover won't work. Or, what you're writing about is just a waste of time sort of thing. You do it gently, of course.
But you've got the experience. You know what works, what people buy, what people want to read. And what works on the bookshelf.
So, Mark, I'm not sure whether I understood what you said there or whether I misheard you, but is there like a sort of a standard rate or an agreed percentage that a publisher will take on average of a writer's?
It's what they can.
The books sell, is it a percentage?
It's what your costs are, and what you think you can afford to pay. So I haven't really finished the story. I apologise for that.
Yeah. Probably my fault. I've cut across.
Not at all. Not at all. Lee Childs will get $3 a book. That publisher will take that book to the marketplace, bookshops, Talkie Books, or wherever, Kmart, Big W, online, Amazon online, Bookatopia is big in Australia. And usually the publisher distributor loses 50% plus to the retailer.
Right.
So of a $30 book, 15 will come back into them, but they've got to print that book. The publisher has to print that book. It might cost $3 or $4 or $5 or whatever it is. Has to pay the royalty. Pay for the sales team. Pay for the marketing. Pay for the freight out of the warehouse. Pay for the freight. So
that's all the publisher's costs.
So
that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
So my costs.
So publishers carrying the vast majority of the costs.
Yeah, well, they take the risk.
Of the book. I
mean, if the author is worth their salt, they're worth, as I said, Lee Childs, $3 million or whatever it is. I'm not trying to say I know, but that's roughly it. Whereas in my case, I have to pay for my distributor in the sense that he's rented or he has his own shed, what they call is a warehouse. But they have, for example, Simon & Schuster is my distributor. They're fairly big. I hire their marketing team, which is their sales reps, their online stuff, and then I pay for their distribution into the book trade. So I will get something like 70% off the retail price back to me, or even 73% off. So a $10 book, to make it easy, is I'll get less than $3 back. Then I've got to pay the printer. Then I've got to pay the distributor. So, but it's fun. I like it.
It's not going to be complicated. It's a lot of work too. Much more work involved than I'd sort of thought.
It's fascinating how an industry works. Industry you can only see from the outside. As a avid reader, like you pick a book up and you read it and you think this is great, but you don't realise all the machinations that go on in the background.
Well, about the only thing, not the only thing I do, but I always look to see who the publisher is. I read a lot of fiction, novels, and I always look to see, and I go, oh shit, I'm not. I'll often judge. I'm a bit judgmental, probably too judgmental, and I like, if it's published by Penguin, I know, and it looks good and sounds good, I know it'll be good.
Well, see, Penguin will have great editors on board. And they might. I mean, I won't structurally edit a book, which means chapter 1 should be at chapter 10, and we've done that. But it takes a lot of time to get it right.
You want that done by your author, essentially. You don't want to do that.
We do send our books out for copy editing. So, this is spelled wrongly, this is full stop. You're using American English here. One of my recent authors, swapped from American to British English, and that's a no-no because someone will pick that up.
Well, I mean, editing, I've worked with editors, and editing is a really great skill, a difficult skill. And you're talking about your wife, your editor. Have you ever had anything to do with editors, Scott, at all?
No.
Oh, you can, it's so obvious. There's a big difference between a good and a bad editor. And a good editor is like unbelievable. You can just, when it's been through a good editor, it just jumps off, it stands on off the page. It's incredible.
So how much of a role does an editor take? Like, other than, grammar and full stops and like that kind of and spelling and what have you, do they take a more active role as in structure and
they do. They do. It is Brian, isn't it?
Yes.
The thing that Brian said is absolutely correct. They can really impact a book. I've seen some bad books come out of great books.
Right.
So if an author has got a good story...
Might be hoping for me yet, Brian.
I actually know a good editor. Don't be mad.
Well, she fired me.
But new blood here.
So I will always send it out to an editor, more often than not, unless... Like, for example, Mal's next book I'll send to an editor, and she'll be a line editor and copy editor. However, if you've got a structural editor, which I don't do much anymore, Mal's first book, we used a structural editor, which is my wife. She changed things around, and I've used structural editors. A great mate of mine is 95 now, and he owns a winery in... it's meant to be Yarra Valley, but it's in Montana. Beautiful wine. Anyway, he's written 6 books for us, and his first book, I just remember the story. Sorry to go off the track.
That's what this podcast is about.
That's what it's called, rambling.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
So he sat down with another editor of mine. She's quite famous because she, edited Penguin books and wrote Penguin books. Margaret Geddes. She edited this guy's book, Reg Egan, from One Turner Estate. He was really excited because he got 2 Lever Arch files as his book and gave it to Margaret, and Margaret came back and it was all yellow tabs in the second volume, and the first one there was no yellow tabs. And he thought, gee, I've done really well on the first, 4 or 5 chapters because there's hardly there are no yellow tabs.
Yeah.
And she sat and said, no, Reg, the good news or the bad news?
Oh, here we go, Reg.
The bad news is I don't want you to write anything about the first, Lever Arch file. That's gone.
Ooh.
And it was perfect.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Don't want it.
Don't want it.
And here's what you need to do to fix up the second part.
Well, I'll fix up the second part, but the first part.
Yeah.
And
So he's got half a book now, not a whole book.
Well, it was,
Wow.
I reprinted it 5 times. It was his best book.
Wow.
But and that was, I don't know, 20 years ago. He's 95 now.
15 reprints, did you say? 5 reprints.
5 reprints.
5 reprints, yeah.
And, he went to Penguin first, and the editor said, no, we want to change it. We want to edit it down. And because he's an ex-barrister, ex-solicitor, and now he's got his wine company, he just basically looked at it and said, the author writes, you publish it as is. And he said, bye-bye. Because editors do have a major, important job to do.
Yeah.
And there are people that can just write.
Yeah.
And with the invention of AI, GBT, can't even say it now.
Let's get to that.
Yeah.
That will clean up someone's work.
Yeah.
And you need someone to look over it, put their personality into it.
Yeah.
You just don't want to release it through that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So how do you find I mean, we've already established obviously that certain people through contacts, whether it be your previous, your career in for Angus Robertson or for whatever else, you obviously find people through your networks. But how do authors come to you? Do they Google Publisher Melbourne, or do you meet them through other channels? Do you go out and sort of headhunt and look for authors?
I should be more proactive, but I'm not.
Yeah. You don't need to be then.
I don't know what it is. I've never advertised.
Yep.
My website you've mentioned is terrible.
Yeah.
But I think they must have got a previous book on the title page, which is one of the first few pages. My email's there.
Yep.
They might strain to my website.
Yep.
My website will be listed somewhere on when you search for publishers.
Yeah.
Someone has got my book through the distributor. They get to know me. Most of my authors, I encourage them to buy some stock to do a book launch where they make money out of.
Yep.
If they don't want to promote their book, I'm not interested.
Yeah,
because if you can't sell yourself, why do you expect someone else to sell you?
Yeah, I agree.
And I have great fun at launches because I like to rev my author up in the sense they are fantastic. They've got a book published. They're one of the few to do that.
Yep.
It's fantastic. You know the author. Come and get a signed copy because it usually is, 70% of their friends and contacts. And as I say, we've got, I don't know, half a dozen authors here in Torquay and nearby.
Yep.
It's the best thing to do. And then we also have library talks.
Yep.
We organise library talks through with the author, and they get up and speak, and I'm usually there, not always there.
Yep.
And, if I take Mal to a library talk, he just, beats me up positively.
Yeah.
So this guy's, the reason I publish. And as I said, I can't write to save myself.
Yep.
But he came to me last book and he said, I think I'm done.
All right.
And I said, oh, yeah, if you're done, that's fine.
Yeah.
He said, I haven't got any ideas. I said, well, here's two. In the same email, and he's come back and he's publishing one with us.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So to answer your question, I'm sorry, Scott.
No, that's all right.
It is more about the contacts. I get 30 books out there a year approximately.
Yep.
They're pretty much distributed. Well, they are distributed nationally in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
I sell some of them overseas. So somehow, I don't know how, I'll tell you how the Brazilian got to know me.
Yep.
We published an American author which was really well known, and he came to Australia quite regularly. And I love this guy. He's dead now. It's Jim Rohn.
Okay.
Now, Jim Rohn is a business philosopher, motivational. Anthony Robbins, if you know him, called him his first motivational mentor.
Okay.
Yep. And Jim Rohn published 5 Pieces of Life Puzzles, Seasons of Life, and others. And we published one called that we produce internationally, which is Keys to Success.
Yep.
And this guy picked up one of his copies in Brazil, read it, loved it. He loves the books.
Yep. Saw Brolga Publishing.
And he decided, well, it's good enough for Jim, I'll publish with him. So we've published the book.
Yep.
I'm trying to get him to understand that you're not known in Australia. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I'll meet him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but we'll sell his book.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So hypothetically, if I'm a budding young writer who wants to write you're writing mostly, Brolga seems to me a publishing mostly non-fiction, right? Is that or is that just coincidence, or is that sort of
I'm tending to go that way more to, I do publish fiction. There's a guy in Port Lonsdale, it is. I'm trying to remember what it is, down the Bellarine Peninsula.
Yeah, Port Lonsdale.
He's published 3 crime fictions, and he's talking about his 4th.
Yep.
He's published 6 with us. 6 with us, I think. I've done his library talks, his launches.
Yep.
So they're fiction.
Yep.
He's published non-fiction with Allen and Unwin.
Yep.
But he uses us now, and so we'll publish fiction for a reason.
Yep.
And if you write fiction, I'll definitely look at it.
Yeah.
So it's about the context, and to be honest, for me, it's, do we get on? If you don't get on with the person for whatever reason in business, ring the bell. Move on. So non-fiction's easier in the sense, although the guy from Brazil, it's non-fiction, but it's like Jim Rohn. Non-fiction is easier because if Scott, you're the podcast king, if Brian is in Torquay, that's a story. But if you're writing fiction, you're competing with Lee Charles.
Yeah.
And so I've got a UK distributor. They take my books. I don't make money out of it really. But it's nice to say that I've got a UK distributor, and I sell, I go to the Frankfurt Book Fair, except for COVID, nearly every year. And so, their books, my author's books, to international publishers if I can.
Cool.
So can we just go back a step on that process, Mark, about somebody coming to you saying, "Here's a book, I want you to publish it," whether it's non-fiction or whatever. What's the first thing you do? Do you see the person first? Do you see the work first?
I try never to meet the person first.
So you want to see the product?
Correct.
And do you read it?
Yeah, I do read it. I might not read the whole lot. Sorry.
No, you're right. Yeah.
I might not read the whole lot. I'll read most of it. And if it engages me. Like I've had one come in recently, which is non-fiction, and I won't mention it. And I'm umming and ahhing whether I should publish it because it's a good story, well written, but does it have something to hang your hat on?
Almost like an X factor, the thing.
It's just a life story, really. But if it's, I remember one of my cookbook authors came to me and said, thanks for the full page in the Herald Sun or whatever it was. Well, why can't you get me on the front page? And I said, well, you haven't murdered anybody. You've got to do something really bad to get on the front page.
Bad news sells. Bad stories sell.
And that's even more the case at the moment.
So you'll get you've done enough of this to know, without reading word for word the whole thing in front to back, you can go, it's in here without reading the whole thing.
Yeah, look.
And then the next step, if you've got that and you go, this might be okay? Do you second read or second reader?
If I want to publish them, I'll publish them.
That's just from there. Yep, I like it. Go.
I like it, but I'll say, what do you think, Julie's my wife? And she'll say, well, explain it. She might read some or whatever.
Yeah, you'll tell her what you've made of it, and she'll go, well, that sounds...
Well, she had
that sounds possibly.
She has a theory about me and say, did you like the guy? Yeah, I really liked him. So, no, don't publish him. Because it's usually my connection with the author and it's hers about the skill of writing.
Yeah, yeah.
And, that's an interesting mix, but it's up to me.
Yeah.
If it fails. Yeah. Because one of the other authors that I published in Brolga has done about 20 books with us. He's in Newcastle. Wow. He's a former history professor out of Newcastle University, and he told me, and he's absolutely right. He told me that I can tell you when a book is a bestseller. I said, oh yeah, which is like curiously, he said, yeah, you're telling me that you know when a bestseller is.
My business, yeah.
And he said, yeah, I know. When the book's released and after 3 to 6 months, I know if it's selling. And he's absolutely right. You have no idea
until it hits the market and the market tells you.
Yes, and you're absolutely right.
Because markets shift. All markets shift, don't they? They shift pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Even the book market shifts.
Yeah.
We've changed so much.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to catch up with 2 corporate MDs about a month ago, and they told me how much online's affected people like Woolworths.
Yep.
Big W. Is it Temu, the online seller?
Yeah.
They've sold so much that Big W's selling less.
Yeah.
Right.
So the traffic's down, so the book department's down.
Yeah.
So it's shifting, and the biggest bookseller in Australia of physical books is Amazon.
Yeah.
It's not what it was, Angus and Robertson.
No, yeah.
We were.
Yeah, right.
Well, we were many years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting change and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are probably transitioning not only to digital books but audio books as well, and not actually reading but listening to them. I think there's a lot of that.
I think there's a group of us that will never go fully to digital.
I can't listen to a book audio. I can't. I can listen to a podcast conversation. I cannot listen to one person reading a book. I lose interest like that.
I've never tried it. I've never tried it.
Yeah. The only one I have loved is Donald Southern reading Ernest Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea.
Oh, well.
Because one, it's a beautiful, simple story, and two, it's Donald Southern reading.
Correct. Donald Southern. That's got to be a win-win. Did you publish that?
No, you should. I wish I would.
I bet if Donald Southern came to you with that idea, I think I'm going to read this. I think, well, I'll publish that. I don't. I'm a hard copy book man. I still love reading a book.
So do I. I'll take 2 away from me, 2 away with me when I go overseas, and I'll fold the pages over and give them away. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave them on the plane seat. I've done that. So leave them on the plane. I've done that.
Okay.
Small novels. Yeah. Sometimes on an overseas trip, just leave it on the plane.
Who finds it?
Yeah,
we've travelled a lot back in the early days of travel doing backpackers, and you'd often leave a book behind and pick one up. And you just
well, that's still the case. There's libraries and Airbnbs in lots of them where they have travellers' books, and you pick one up. And I did a swimming trip in Turkey 2 or 3 years ago, and finished my books in the library in the Turkish Gullah, which is beds 14 people. There's a whole library of books, so you took them out and you read them.
We got one at Medusa Bar. We got a bookshelf there with a whole bunch of books. I was going to take them to the op shop because I wanted to have a bit of clear. I thought I'll put them there, and I've seen books in there that I didn't put there. People
take one and drop one back.
And look, people could just steal the lot, but it's just as many books there as there was, so nobody's just stolen them.
No, I think absolutely you're right, Scott, is that there is something, honest. You take one, replace it.
Readers, I think if you're a reader, you're not going to take a book and not replace it or something. Well, You'd exchange one.
I had a copy of Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee there, and an incredible book. Because I had 2 copies, I thought I'd put one there, and somebody came up to the bar, do you mind if I borrow this? And I said, no, just bring it back. That's great. And they were excited because they hadn't read it and they heard all about it. That's, I love that.
That's a well-recommended book.
Absolutely.
And I read it. And when I first come to Melbourne, it must be 30-odd years ago.
Yeah, it's brutal though.
It is, but it's quite sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. Extremely sad. Yeah,
it's on my bookshelf too. I had no idea where I picked it up. You might have given it to me years ago.
No, I've still got, I've still got a copy here.
I've got it. I've got it too. It is really powerful.
It may be changing now, but I'd say it's one of the books I could recommend.
Yeah,
like I recommend as a non-fiction biography, one of the best biographies I've ever read, whether it's still the same or not, or changed. Talking about marketing, things change. Is Open on Andre Agassi.
Yeah.
Brilliantly written.
Really? Is it? Okay.
The best I've ever read.
Oh, you've read it too?
It's tremendous. It's a book you should read.
Yeah, okay. I will.
Read it just for the... Yeah, it just happens to be about a tennis player, but
really?
It's a lot. That's
well written.
I would never have thought
beautifully written.
Yeah, and it wasn't him writing it. I'm sure he was. Putting on.
No, it's a biography, not an autobiography.
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the best biography I've read. Yeah, definitely.
I would say for me, and I've read a lot. One time I was reading a book a week on purpose.
Yeah.
And I would say that was one of the best biographies I've ever read.
It's probably the book I've most recommended to friends.
Correct.
Or told friends, given to friends and say, you've got to read this. And especially if anyone's got an interest in sport at all, that elite sport level stuff and the torturous, journey to get to that level. It's a ripping book, very, very good book.
I've forgotten more than I can remember, but basically what you're saying is 100% correct. I could easily recommend that book.
Yeah.
And if I see it lying around somewhere, I'll buy it.
Oh,
yeah. Just and give it away. Give it as a gift, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, there's another one that's been highly recommended to me, which I've never read, but I'd be interested, Mark, I don't know if you know it. Viv Richards, the West Indian cricketer. Do you know his autobiography?
I do, and I actually think... I can't remember whether I saw it when I was at A&R or after. I remember seeing it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah.
And I have heard it well reviewed.
Yeah.
But there's so many books.
Oh, I know. Well,
have you read it?
No, but a friend of mine who was a local historian in Bendigo and a sport nut and a published writer himself as a historian, obviously. He just said it was the best autobiography he'd ever read. And he read a lot. He had a library of, thousands of books. And he just said the man's pride in his culture and his race and how it stood out in the book,
He's a great sportsman.
Oh, he was a great sportsman.
Great batsman. Amazing.
Incredible.
One of the best in an era of the best,
and a very proud black man. And Ray Wallace said the book's fantastic. So you've got me, you've inspired me.
No, I've got that now. I've got that in my brain. It's a bit like you look at who published it and sometimes think, well, I don't know them, so I might not buy them.
Yes.
But sometimes books come out of nowhere. And that one, I'm trying to remember, I think Pan published it, but I could be wrong.
No idea, but I'm going to try and find it, dig it out somewhere, and I must read it. So, every time we have one of these conversations, I go away with something. Whether it's drinking a new tonic or listening to the local community radio station. Now I've got a non-fiction book to go and read, which I don't read much of.
Yeah.
I tend to read novels because I love them.
I read a lot more novels.
But I would read, Viv Richards' biography. I'm going to dig it out. And I'll get it and pass it on to you, mate.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we are going sort of down a bit of a rabbit hole, but books are incredibly important. They've been incredibly important to me in my life. I remember from, as a young, before teenage, even reading Hardy Boys and never read anything
Biggles.
but Hardy Boys and Biggles and even before that, Famous Five and Wishing Tree, all that sort of stuff. And the importance of those things in your life as a reader.
Yeah.
But then passing that love, that down to our daughter as well, and how important it was to read a book to her every single night of her life, essentially, and what a difference that's made to her, I think, and her curiosity as a person and wanting to learn, and I think that a lot of that comes from reading to your kids. Yeah,
I think it's super important, and I just, I don't want to be a negative person, but I just think these things, phones.
Oh yeah.
My grandkids, they're on it too much, but it's all kids. And to break that up with reading is hard because I think it would help their comprehension of many other things. And to be herself in a book was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because looking up your website and some of the books that you've published, or at least some of the authors you've published. Now, I can't remember her name, but she wrote "There's a hippopotamus on my roof eating cake."
Hazel Edwards.
Hazel Edwards, and that was one of our favourite books that I used to read Trinity all the time. So, did you publish that book, or have you published? No,
I've published others of hers, but Hazel Edwards published that one, and I've forgotten who published it, but that was her bestseller. All-time bestseller. Absolutely. It's a classic, and I think it still sells today. It could be Penguin, but I can't remember who puts their logo on it.
Yeah.
But when it was released, it was, I don't know, if it sold 100,000, it sold 1 million copies, that book, because it's been around a long time.
We've probably still got a copy of it. I think most of the books from when Trinity was a young child, we'd probably moved on, but there was a handful, a few that just meant a lot to us that would have kept, in case, there's grandkids or whatever down the track. So, cool. We might just have a quick little break and then just a reset and come back to some more of the particular stories about some of the authors and books that you've published. And go down the fun.
And if I didn't go, I believe I'd blow my stack.
Cool. I want to touch, Mark, on some of the specific authors you've had or people you've worked with. The one that when you scan through your website, and I did hear an interview with you on The Pulse. That's how I found out about you in the first place, our local radio station. And you were talking a bit about working with Hazel Hawke.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but it seems like one of the highest profile people you work with. Up there at least anyway. How was it working with Hazel? How did that sort of come about?
Well, that actually came about when I'd had enough of corporate life. I was still working corporately for the New Zealanders, Whitcoulls, and they came in and sort of worked with us, my MD, and I was the marketing guy. And I said to my MDs, if they start mucking around with you, like moving around, I'm out of here. I've done this too many times. And so they did. So I was planning to get out. And one of the first ideas was to publish people that I put on TV to do an ad to support their book.
That's right.
Right. And so I'd done Hazel.
Yep.
So one of the first things I thought of was do another book with Hazel. Because she'd already done one biography. So I can't remember whether I contacted her. I probably contacted her because she was in Sydney at the time, living with Bob, I've forgotten, Northbridge, but wherever it was in Sydney. Contacted her and I was going to get out of A&R, but they didn't know. And I flew up probably the next day, had made my mind up, flew up and had a meeting with Hazel, told her what I wanted to do, what she could do, and unbeknownst to me, she was splitting up with Bob.
Right.
Right at that time.
Okay.
So we put the book together. Julie helped to put it together at the time of faxes and sending the book fax to her and all that sort of thing. And so I met Hazel through that process where I flew up and she agreed to publish with us. And again, I paid her in advance. I can't remember if it was 20 grand or whatever it was. And I'd sort of figured that she would sell 25,000 copies. So that's my transition out of corporate life, but also one of the first authors I ever published, apart from James or Jim Ryan, is Hazel Hawke.
Okay.
So how did that work? You thought she'd sell 20 to 25,000?
Yeah.
How many did she sell?
Somewhere around about that.
It worked out about what you thought, what you estimated. Yeah, okay.
So basically, the way it works is, let's say it was $1 a book was giving to her, but I paid that in advance. That she then knew that I was serious about, because that was a reasonable amount of money back then. And unbeknownst to me, because I met her daughter, Sue Peters-Hawke, she got on board and she wanted her to publish, Hazel to publish. And she was a really lovely lady. I found her that way. And then I started tour process with her. because Hazel Hawke back then was easy to say, well, we're going to do a signing session, we're going to do a radio interview.
Yeah. It would be difficult. You wouldn't have to kick the doors down to get Hazel on the radio or on TV.
Just mention it and you got them involved.
Yeah.
So we did have her do that stuff, and just as we started the PR campaign, Sue was there.
Yeah.
And she said, we've got to tell you, Mark, that Hazel's splitting up with Bob.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out in the news.
Yeah.
Right. So the book was already written, you're already doing publicity, and then this comes
Printed,
out.
published.
Yeah.
Harper were doing my distribution then, I think, from memory. And the book had already lobbed. Now we've got to try and sell it.
Yeah. So is that... like putting aside the tragedy or whatever it is in someone's life when this sort of thing happens, purely from a business point of view, is it a good thing for sales or is it a bad thing for sales?
Well, I'd say one of the hardest things, especially nowadays, but even back then, is what you mentioned, Brian, is that you wouldn't have to break down doors to get her into radio stations. Yeah. So she was a walking, talking PR personality. She wasn't a great public speaker, by the way. I got her on public speaking gigs where she'd stand up on stage, but that wasn't her strength.
No.
Her strength was personally and at book launches and whatever. But that got us in the door on a lot of radio stations. I can't even remember whether we did TV, and that helped sell it. So in the book industry, every book that goes out can come back. So you sell the book, sale or return. So you want to make sure that it sells. So a lot of people came out and bought it to get Hazel's signature and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
I was just thinking. I just think Hazel Hawke was a real woman of substance. You're a bit.
She was well loved.
She was well loved.
I'm not sure whether the extent you remember this. I'll never forget when their daughter went through the heroin stuff.
Yeah,
the WA became public.
Yeah,
and Bob was absolutely bloody useless. There was an interview on news.
He cried,
and he completely
lost it.
He couldn't. Not only, of course, he'd be emotional, but he could not express himself, and it was almost embarrassing. And Hazel was there, and she just sort of almost just nudged him aside and just took over.
Yeah,
it was magnificent. I really impressed when I saw it. I thought, wow, there's a really good woman, really good woman. In that situation, he couldn't do it, which I understand. But if you put yourself in that place, you've got to be prepared to do it, and he couldn't do it. And I'm not saying I'm not going to criticise Hawke. I mean, he can do a lot of things many of us couldn't do, but he didn't have that emotional strength that Hazel had in that instant about their child.
Yeah.
And I great admiration for her.
Yeah. No, she was, I mean, not just me in the sense I really liked her, but I think she was well loved.
I think so too. I think people warmed to her. I'm sure you would have seen that if you worked with her.
I did, and I'd visit her fairly regularly. Not regularly, but fairly regularly in Sydney, and then she got dementia, and that was pretty sad.
Very sad.
And but she was well loved. People thought well of her, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm not sure how well you remember her biography, but this might be a myth, but I sort of thought she might have been a social worker. Do you know if she had a professional background?
Boy, now, I should know.
Yeah. I wonder. For some reason I thought that, and I don't know if she never worked. I don't recall her working, ever. She was always just sort of...
I do remember Blanche Del Puget's, she was the first biography on Bob Hawke, and it basically said that Bob at Oxford University said to Hazel as he was coming back to Australia, or something like that, let's get married, because... it was pretty good with the women, old Bob, and he wanted to try and settle down. And it's in that biography. Right. It might be cleared up a lot more if you had read it recently.
Yeah.
So I think Hazel didn't work in the marriage.
Yeah.
But she could have been a social worker.
Yeah, I had a sense. Well, what did she do when they were in England, when he was studying, doing his...
Well, that's ironic, isn't it?
Rhodes Scholarship.
Bob married Hazel in order to settle down, and then he broke up with her in order to go with his biographer, who wrote about it in the book.
That can be a dangerous.
That's irony. That's irony, right?
Publishing, industry. You got to be careful. You never know what can happen.
Well, that's why Bob actually agreed to do the first biography, which I think was fantastic. The others I'm not so sure about, and because he came out then and said, I've been, I haven't been the best husband, and I'm an alcoholic, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And he changed everything, well, certainly on the food and the drink when he got into Prime Minister.
Yeah. So what was it like to work with Bob Hawke? Because obviously imagine so he was Prime Minister by the time you published the second book, her second biography?
No, pretty close.
Pretty close.
I think that he was still very big.
So I imagine there's a vetting process there then of somebody who's about to become Prime Minister or is very, that his wife's biography is going to reveal some stuff, right? Was there a process of vetting there that you had to go through?
No, not for Hazel's second book. Her first book was published by Reed Random House, and it was a fairly, I'd say, slim, not super slim, but about 45,000 words, I'd say.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas a biography or an autobiography, well, Open, where we mentioned before, something like, I don't know, 80,000 words. Yeah. 80,000. So that gives you the size as a comparison. But I didn't have to go through a vetting process because Hazel was okay with me because I'd known her before. And what we published was biographical of her and Bob, but it was also motivational and all that. Yep. So it wasn't restricted about telling stories. Some of the movie stars I've published, and they've rejected me because they don't want to tell stories. That their tell-all would be damaging. So they go. The money might be interesting, but they need more money acting.
True. Yes. Yeah. So you said that you flew up to meet, and I guess you pitched the idea to Hazel or whatever. Did you sort of rock up to their house? How does that work? You rock up to Bob and Hazel Hawke's house?
Yeah, I did. A couple of friends dropped me off because they picked me up from the airport, dropped me off. Yep. I can remember, not distinctly, but walking in, and Sue was there, I think, from memory, because she was the sort of guard, what's this guy doing?
The interface, between Hazel and the public.
And the other thing, those people being Bob and Hazel, you need minders to make sure. Like Hazel wasn't used to, I flew a business class and, I'm walking up for a business class ticket with Hazel and they said, oh, you're with Hazel. This room's over here for you, which is, it wasn't the Qantas Lounge. It was something upmarket, totally different.
We don't even know about that.
Correct.
The immortals.
So it's that sort of
security,
protection. So what you take for granted, like one time we organised a cab for her.
Oh, yeah.
Should have organised a car.
Oh, right.
And Sue had organised a car. Yeah. But it's not a shot at them. She'd lived a life of getting picked up and all the rest. And the same for Bob. Yeah. Because I had promoted him after I left the corporate life.
Yeah.
So, what you do.
They're used to, private transport, not public transport or all that. Unless you're Barry Humphries and you're on the trams in Melbourne, who I've seen twice.
Yeah, oh, wow.
To my great delight many years ago.
Really?
Travelling on the tram, yeah.
Really? Out at Mooney Ponds?
No, he was just going down Burke Street. Yeah, sitting like right beside me, ensconced in a conversation with somebody with him, and I'm just sort of on the edge and I'm going, oh God, I've got to say something to this bloke, but never got the opportunity to. I just saw him sitting there. So but that those people, like you're saying, Mark, that would be used to that sort of that level of security and stuff around their travel and stuff.
So, any other sort of favourites you'd like to mention? You've mentioned Jim Rohn a couple of times. I'm not really familiar with the work, but working with someone.
I'll get you a copy. I'll send one round.
Well, someone that's motivational. Obviously, it would be quite inspiring to work with people like that.
Oh yeah, Jim Rohn was. He did some of my stuff when I was in corporate life, and that's how I got to know him.
Right.
And Wayne Dyer, I published him as well.
Yep.
Both have passed since, but that was my contact with them. They met me personally, and then I progressed to saying, you know what, your books in America I can publish in Australia, or I can build a book, what we call build a book, based on your tapes or whatever. and that's what we did to bring that into the marketplace. But we've had a lot of people that have been published that are known and unknown, and I've mentioned Mal Walden. There are other people, and they'll come to me later on when I'm driving down the road.
No doubt.
Some of the famous people are Michael Caine, and they were in my book selling day. Wilbur Smith, I loved him, but I probably couldn't read him anymore. Yeah. But he's always about South Africa and fighting in Africa, and totally inappropriate. Stealing elephant tusks and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But he was one of the great speakers and a funny guy, Wilbur Smith. Mm-hmm. Jackie and Joan Collins. I did what they would call literary lunches. Bryce Courtney. He was really good, and I got to know him really well because I was working corporate life. When I left, he wrote me a beautiful letter, and Bob Hawke knew me well before Hazel, and he wrote me a letter saying, if you ever want to come to politics, I'll back you in. Okay. No thanks. No thanks.
Why would you
That's not me.
Yeah, cool. Well, it seems like it's been pretty good to you. The publishing game. You're now living a life in Torquay and swimming in the ocean and being able to work with some amazing people. Which it must be.
And it continues. I mean, it's swimming, love it. Yeah. Cafe, can't avoid it, love it.
Yeah. Cafe owned by your son, so you
why not? Get a free coffee.
You don't pay your son for the coffee at the shop?
No.
Really? You won't take it off, or you don't offer?
Both. He always says his profits go down when I'm in town.
Well, Mark, I wondered whether we could just talk a little bit about your personal life as well. I mean, we talked a lot about your working life here, but you told us earlier, you're a South Australian boy originally, and then to Melbourne. Yeah. Your interests, we know you like the water. Yeah. So what else have you done? What did you do to relax, and what have you done to sort of in your leisure time throughout your life?
Well, I can't run anymore, but I ran 10 marathons.
Oh shit! And no wonder you can't run anymore.
I wouldn't be able to run anymore. I wouldn't have thought.
So and as I said, I think I said I was in my life-saving years when I was 12 and into my late 20s.
Yes. So
I raced kayaks and surf skis. So that was part of the sporting life. I've played water polo. I've enjoyed that. But Torquay's been kind to me in the sense that I've met my tribe, the swimming tribe, that, a couple of mates have crossed the English Channel. Yeah. Wow. We swim with those guys. Okay. One of the guys I swim with is a Torquay Geelong personality, I'd say. Yeah. Brian Cook.
Oh yeah,
he's
the CEO of Geelong Footy Club,
wasn't he? Yeah. He's a water baby.
Yeah, he gets in roughly the same time as us, and I swim with him. If I try and keep on his toes, he's faster than me.
Because I see you guys out there, and I think you don't realise who's out there. They're just like these specks just swimming out in the air, and you think, geez, what are these mad buggers doing out there? But you don't realise the people that are out there. Yeah,
is that an organised group, Mark, that you swim with, or is it just a loose collection of people that are there at the same time?
We have our own WhatsApp, and it builds from there. Yeah, but there's probably 10 to 20 guys and girls that are a part of that group. Yeah, and we'll say who's swimming at 6:30 tomorrow morning, which I swam this morning. Yeah, and what I found out was, there's a guy, Colin, who's training to do Rockness Island. So you swim from Fremantle 20 k's to Rockness.
And dodge the sharks.
Exactly. They got taken out one year.
Oh, my God.
They got out of the water because the sharks were too close.
Yeah. That's real shark water.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So he swam at 6 by himself. Yeah. Wow. And this is the morning we got in, we found out there was a thresher shark in the water. So we swam anyway.
Yeah. It must take some guts swimming out there on your own, I reckon. I love getting in the water, and I don't mind if it's pre-dawn or whatever, but out there on your own, it's got to be it's got to be peaceful and beautiful, but it's also got to be a little bit scary, doesn't it?
Well, I came from Adelaide, as you know, and I'm always looking for it. And I've run into a couple on my surf ski, and I think, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's on the water. But in the water swimming, you got no chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Do the people you swim with you swim year round? I'm guessing mornings year round.
Yeah.
Any sort of thermo gear at all? Or do they just swim?
Not me.
Swim? No, you don't. You never use anything at all through the winter.
I use cut shorts to give me buoyancy because there's nothing off me.
Yeah.
So hold my bottom up.
Just to keep you buoyant.
Swimming, if you swim like that, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
If you swim flat,
you want to get up on top of the water. So use a bit of a buoyancy trunk sort of thing. Yeah. Okay. And other than that, nothing.
No, just
so
goggles.
you go in all year round too.
But
even Nick Cave's doing it.
Yes,
Did you hear that? Nick Cave's doing cold.
Is he?
Nick Cave's
he's not in the ocean. He's jumping in some lake.
In a lake, but into cold, plunging into cold water. Yeah.
It's become really popular.
Yeah.
And one of my authors is a commando.
Oh yeah.
Ex-commando.
Yeah.
His title is
Australian.
Yep. He went into Dili. Sorry. And he was one of the first in there.
Yeah.
And he does plunge water at the tender age, whatever age he is now.
Yeah.
And his book's Arafat to Everest because he met Arafat.
Oh, yeah.
So he started his charity up and he climbed Everest. So,
fantastic.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
And the book's, I think, been reprinted about 20 times.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, Mark might be a good hunting ground for us to get some guests on this podcast. It sounds like he's got some fascinating connections.
I've got people. I've got people in Torquay if you want them.
Absolutely.
Well, I think our thing is we really do want to explore. The people, like I said, you don't know who's out there swimming. You see them out there swimming, you don't realise, you don't know who they are. You see, there are, it's a pretty big town now, and I know it's a lifestyle town, so I imagine people come here for that. But we'd love, this is what we want to do, really, isn't it? Scratch the surface and see who's sort of, what stories are underneath.
Plenty of people out there, I'm amazed at some of the people that I swim with. They're all spectrums of the world. But there's a retired judge that we swim with. Cam. He's very articulate as a judge and really thoughtful thinker, big reader. And there's many people
living here that just living kind of nice and quietly, just doing their thing.
Is it a sort of coffee, swim, and croissant thing? Do you have a gathering afterwards, or
we do?
Yes, so that's part of it.
Yeah, because the swimmers traditionally go to a cafe or two or three after their swim, close to where we swim at Casey. And straight after the swim, we'll go for a coffee because in winter you need a coffee to warm up. And I'm shaking for about half an hour or so.
Yeah, I do like the hot shower afterwards.
I bet the hot shower is good afterwards.
I find if you don't warm up fairly soon after, it's hard to get warm for the rest of the day.
Hypothermia is a big thing.
Yeah.
But the water at Torquay gets down to 10 or 11 degrees
through winter. Yeah, that's pretty cold.
As I said, it's about 15, 16 now.
Yeah.
And I swam 2.2. I won't swim 2.2
in winter.
No,
too long in the water.
You'll just struggle big time.
It's funny. I've been in some mornings where the water's warmer than outside. And you're getting steam coming off the water because it's like 2 degrees outside or 1 degree outside, and you get in as 10 degrees or whatever it is in the water. And it's pretty cold getting out though. That's the one. Once you're wet, and
the shock.
But no, look, I love it. It's a really been important thing for me in the last 12, 18 months to do that. I think it's very meditative, it's like takes you, whatever you're thinking about just goes in that instant you hit the water, And
so what time do you get in the water?
It varies. I'm not like, I don't get in the same time every day. I do like to do sunrise. Some mornings, like tomorrow morning, I'll get in pre-sunrise because I have to go to Melbourne in the morning. So it just depends on the day. So I typically like to get in before 8 because after 8 o'clock everyone's out at the cafes and you can't get a park. But I try to get in. Sunrise is preferred time.
Well, the beauty of that, I think, is for me and probably you, is that you do something like that, you tick it off and you say, I've done that. That's a highlight of the day for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great way to start the day. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially when you don't want to get in.
No. It's
you still don't, even though you do it, you're still, like me, I don't want to get in, so I don't, but you still don't want to get in.
There are mornings when you just don't want to.
But you go, I bet there is.
Yeah.
But typically now I know that I love it so much and it makes the day so different for me that you just, even if you do wake up and think, I don't want to get out of bed, you still do it. But but again, I'm not like I have to get up at 6. I have to go out at 6:30. If I'm if I've had a later night or I've had a rough night's sleep or whatever, or for whatever reason, I'll go in at 8. I'll go in at, and I work from home like you do. So it's you can be flexible in that. So,
good stuff.
Yeah,
cool. Good stuff.
I heard Nick Cave interviewed on the radio last week about. Did you hear that interview?
On the ABC with Jacinta? Was it just?
Oh one of the it was.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. But one of the things there's a quote where he said, you go into the water. When you enter the water, you go in with all your demons and all your thoughts and everything your head swim with all these ideas. Yeah, and you come out like a giggling child.
Just like, I heard that and I thought that is exactly how.
And I bet that'd resonate with you guys. It just strips all that shit from you and you just come out completely
exactly right.
Shifted.
Yeah.
The other thing I was just going to say, Mark, listening to there, I've just finished reading a very short Japanese book written in English, but researched in Japan about the secrets of a long and healthy life, and it focuses on the green zones around the world, Sardinia, Greece, where people live much longer than the average life generally, and Okinawa in Japan. It focuses particularly on Okinawa. And there's a whole range of similarities. The diets are different, but they're all healthy diet. The Mediterranean diet, the Asian diet, they're all super healthy diets. But it seems that the consistent variable or factor in the whole lot, but certainly in the Japanese people that are living longer, is local community engagement and activity.
Sure. Yeah.
Never retire. Yeah. Do something every day.
Yes.
They grow their own vegetables in their little, like Japan. There's no room, but they grow a few vegetables, and they get up and they do the little exercise. They walk, and they all have social groups, and they meet socially and do things all the time. They've got this commitment to continue to do it, and that's a big element. The sort of stuff you're doing with those swimming guys is a huge step towards doing that, staying healthy, staying engaged, and living a long and healthy life. It's really interesting. It's that social connection. And because I know you said before you love people, so you know what I'm saying here. You know how important it is as a human being to make that contact.
We're social animals. So
absolutely.
It doesn't matter whether you're extrovert, introvert, you are social animals. And trauma comes from things which happened by other people, which is wrong, of course.
Yes.
Or maybe you have had a physical trauma for some reason. Yeah. You've just got to get out of that and realise that we're social animals, and you've got to hang around with similar people, like my swimmers, they're my tribe, so we have a coffee and just chat. It's good.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, actually. I'm completely off topic, but
what is the topic? Do we have one? I didn't know we had a topic.
Well, for me, I like socially, I don't feel like I need a big social circle.
Yes.
But I've worked in hospitality.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I've worked in sales. Yeah. I've worked in jobs where I'm always around people and dealing with people all the time,
right? You say this shit all the time. So I'm not really a social person, and yet your whole bloody life.
So I get my social fix through being around people at work all the time.
Yeah.
And then when I'm away from that, I'm quite happy just to hang out around a lot of the time, So,
but I think you can really...
even though I say I'm not a social person, I still need that social aspect, and I get it through work, So,
And you can't, I think we all need our own space at times as well, and that's important to have that time, but that doesn't mean that we're not social animals and we don't need that social contact. You can't do that and that alone.
Yeah.
You do it when you want your break and shift and whatever, and that's fine. But you couldn't live a life like that. Well, it'd be very difficult. Yeah, very few human beings can live that sort of a reclusive life and healthily. I think you need social interaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So if to budding authors out there, Mark. What's the tip? What's one tip you could give them if somebody's out there thinking, I've got this great novel.
I've got an idea, I want it published.
I've got this great novel, I want to...
I think the biggest thing that I tell people when they send a chapter or 2 chapters, I don't want to see a chapter or 2.
Yes.
Finish your manuscript.
Yeah.
To your best of ability. Because a lot of people... I mean, I went to a meeting once. This is why I don't meet them personally first up. And she was a female author, and she put an exercise book in front of me and said, I've started writing. I said, I thought I was coming for a finished manuscript. She opened it up. She had 2 pages written.
Oh, shit.
And it was like that. Shit.
Yeah.
And it's
what do you say to that? You're sitting in front of them.
You basically have to finish the manuscript. So if anybody wants to meet me, and we've got an author at the moment who I've met, I went against McGrain because he was writing about classic grand finals, AFL grand finals.
Yeah.
So Torquay, you name it. It's all, and his book will be published, I think, next year.
Yeah.
Toby is his name. and you don't want to meet them unless they've got a finished manuscript, because they could stop.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and you've got nothing. Your time's wasted completely. You've got to have some sort of product to start with.
Well, it's you're always on a fishing exhibition when you're publishing, but you're not doing it rudely. You're just saying, well, if you have got nothing to put into print, why bother?
Yeah.
If you haven't got your final manuscript, if you haven't written it to your best ability, well, go away and write. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about that. It's just, and an editor could come and make 100 changes or 1,000 changes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if it's not in your mind fairly ready, then don't send the manuscript in.
Essentially finished. It might be the finished product, but a complete piece of work. It might need work. Not something half completed.
The author will know this is crap. I need to do some more work on it. Well, then
that's
do
fine.
it. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, but not half done. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, it's been fascinating. It's an industry I'm really, really interested in, and it's been, like I said, books have been such a part of my life and your life, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great to get an insight on how they go from an idea to someone's head to some scribbles in a notepad, as you say, and then into a published book. So,
well, when you get to a finished manuscript, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, it might be a little while off yet, but I've written those 2 pages of that lady.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
and I've had an idea in my head rolling around for years and years. But
you have some completed pieces of writing, Scott, but they're very short.
Oh yeah,
so that'd be another thing. I'm just thinking, Mark. Like, there's no point saying, I've one poem or a short story of 15 pages is not enough to come to a publisher with either, I guess,
unless it's incredibly exceptional. Haiku is a Japanese poetry, 3 or 4 lines, but you need a whole lot of those. And mainly they're from the samurai feudal Japan era, that sort of thing.
Something unique.
And short stories work in Australia. But you've got to put it together so they're at least 100 pages long.
Okay. I've got one other question that's been on my mind with the name of your company, Brolga.
Yeah.
So I'm an old Western District boy, so I grew out on those Western Plains, halfway to your hometown, sort of, halfway across to South Australia. Those beautiful wet Western District plains on farming country, and the magnificent Brolga bird, of course, I'm familiar with, which is, you talk about your tribal. If I had a totem, it would be the Brolga. I just loved the pairs of Brolgas every year coming to nest on the property, and the same pair mating for life, with struggling with these young and these swamplands and foxes and things after, so beautiful bird. Is there a connection to the name, to the bird, or where did the name for your company come from?
I'd like to say something, philosophically wonderful.
You made it up.
No, I haven't made it up. I mean, it's the emblem of the Northern Territory, the Brolga.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And, I've seen lots of them in the wild, particularly in the Northern Territory, where I was lucky enough to go through with a 4-wheel drive once with my mate.
Far more common, of course, and in bigger numbers up there than they are down in southern Australia. And
whole flocks of them. Just
beautiful.
Tremendous. They're a beautiful bird, but using it as a publishing logo, because I thought, they'll understand this. What a Brolga is. The number of times I have to spell it out.
It's only birdies like me who know what it is.
The number of people that will do that, and you think, don't they know? But I started off with, let's say, Eagle Publishing and blah, blah, blah. And I went through all these terms of birds. Sorry, bastard, there's a bastard bird, believe it or not. And eventually got to Brolga. And you register it. You could get it registered. You couldn't get the others registered because
somebody
already registered.
So there was no Brolga Publishing. Do you use the outline of that beautiful shape as well? Is that part of your? Yeah, we do. Seen the artwork.
I'll send some books.
Yeah, cool.
I'd love to see one. I'd just like to see that.
Let's not forget another very famous Australian children's book, Olga the Brolga.
Olga the Brolga.
Olga the Brolga.
Another fantastic book. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Terrific, Mark. Thanks.
Thank
you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming into the
Enjoy.
chat. It's been fun, and I've learned a lot. Good
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Some folks might say that I'm no good, that I wouldn't settle down if I I could. But when that open road starts to call in me, there's something old